Comedy is serious business. If you doubt it, listen to this show. Welcome, my name is Kafui Day, and before I even reveal my guest, I'd like you to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so the next time new content arrives, voila, you're the first to get the notice. So he's the executive producer of the KSM show, and for those of you who are just living under a rock, KSM stands for Kweku Sintim Misa. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You day like you know day.
That be my name. That be my name.
Kafui day.
Like I know day. And this is the third time I'm interviewing you, and for me, it's a delight just to go through your tweets, because on Twitter, you're very active. But this time round, when I went to your Twitter,
You didn't see anything.
the latest one was in July
Really?
5, yes. And then the first one was, for this year, between this year and now, you've tweeted maybe about 20 times or 30 times. What has accounted for the drastic reduction
Decline
in your production of tweets? Because you talk about a lot of stuff. And
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
fascinating
yeah.
entry into your mind.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very funny. I'm just going through a mood, and I can't explain it. Maybe some therapist, if you're out there, give me a call. If you can. I'm just going through a mood, and I said, okay, all this thing, let me just lay it off for a while. It just dawned on me, and there are so many things that come into my mind. I said, okay, I'll keep quiet for now. I don't know. I guess I'm waiting for time to come, or something will come that will trigger it back. But I have no idea why I slowed down. Really, people see me and they ask me, KSM this time we're not reading what's going on. And I said, you keep checking. I'll be back.
Is it a strategic kind of a move or something?
It just happened. No burst or any strategy.
Okay.
I just decided, okay, I'll just stay up for a while and come back again. I'll definitely be back.
Why, Ghana people tire you? Are you tired of talking about Ghana issues?
I think you're right, too. I haven't thought about it that way, but I'm sure you have a point, because sometimes I was like, actually, we'll tweet the same thing over and over again. It doesn't change anything. I don't know. It could be, so I just lost some vim, but I always have something to say. I always want to say it, but then I advise myself that you said you were going off for a while, but I'll be back, trust me.
Have your tweets got you into trouble?
No, I have not been into trouble. I just get into trouble from the readers who sometimes come and bash me and say all kinds of things, but not like trouble like calls from outside or some big man say you hear. Nothing like that. It's just the regular tweeters. What do they call them? Tweets or peeps?
Tweets.
Tweets.
Or tweets.
Or tweets.
A tweet sounds like an insult, right?
Yeah.
You tweet.
You tweet.
In English, kind of a typical English insult.
So just the regular folk who
All right.
sometimes
Okay.
disagree with me violently, But other than that,
You're good.
I'm very good.
You're good to go. We are in a smack bang in the middle of the political season in Ghana. So this tweet that you put out on the 11th of January was almost, prophetic or
What
you said, presidential candidates, no more promises. Just convince us that you have a rescue plan to save our country. End of tweet.
Yeah.
This was 11th of January this year.
January, yeah. And I really, really, really do mean that. I'm glad you brought it back up again, I would think that everybody, unless you don't live in Ghana, will know by this time that the promises are sometimes an avenue to get power. I want your vote. How do I get your vote? Well, tell him this. But I can't do it. Doesn't matter. All he wants is the power. And we have experienced that. Promises that I thought somewhere like bordering on being ridiculous.
Give me one of the ridiculous ones that you had.
There's a, what do you call that, sky train? What? and what shocked me was how people were saying,
it can happen.
Yeah, Ghana, we are by, we're doing a sky train. I'm like, you guys, do you think? Why would you let anybody deceive you that we are ready to put up a sky train in Ghana and we are in South Africa signing contracts? This won't happen. You see, but I'm very, very sure whoever decided to tell people that we are bringing a sky train in Ghana knew that's an absolutely, if you will, an unfulfillable thing. But they promised, and people were happy. So that's the nature of the country we are in. That's why I put this thing. I say, okay, if you are coming this time, don't promise me anything, because I know you're promising for one thing. You want my vote, But unfortunately for you, I'm too intelligent, so I'm not giving you a vote. I'm not giving you my vote when you give me these silly promises. And let's see what happens. This is the season, and I'm waiting for the candidate that will come and say, this is the plan.
Because we need that plan.
We need a plan, and it's going to be hard, because it won't be easy. But we need your dedication, because we do need dedication. Nobody has any magic wand to come and turn around this country the way we want to turn around. It depends on us and the energy that we need to put in Kafui. As they say in Twi, it's not an easy thing.
No be small matter.
Not be small matter, thank you. It's a very, 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 very difficult thing, So me, I'm waiting. Some few promises keep seeping through here.
Yeah, because the MPP are looking for their presidential candidate as we speak.
Yeah.
Yes. And are you hearing any things that give you hope that there's a plan, there's a rescue plan, or is it more of the promises that you warned about in January?
Well, from all I'm hearing so far, what's his name?
The businessman?
No, a Japan, not the candidate.
Kwabena, former
Kwabena,
press secretary to
Kwabena
President Kafui.
seems to be coming up with some kind of plan.
You reckon it's his engineering background?
I guess it's an engineering background. They like to do things perfectly well planned. So of all the candidates from that side, so far, I think I like what I've heard him say. The rest, maybe I haven't heard him say anything. I hear one person went to the water region and he says, Rollins was my godfather, so I've come to replace him.
Excuse me, which political tradition again? This is an MPP guy saying this?
That's what I heard. Please, if I heard wrong, then forgive me.
You misheard.
Maybe I misheard.
If you misheard.
If I misheard, forgive me. But this is what I remember reading somewhere, that somebody mounted the platform in the Volta region and say, hey, Rollins was my godfather, or kind of like my godfather, so I have your interest at heart, Of course, you say this too. Hey, the people will rejoice and shout as if it's a written agreement, or an unwritten agreement that when they say rubbish,
we
shout.
When they say rubbish, shout.
Yeah, when they say rubbish. We shout at everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes sitting back, I'm like, oh my goodness. But sometimes you can't blame people too, You need a level of education, you need a level of exposure, you need a level of awareness. And there are some people who have not had that exposure, education, or awareness, who really are clueless, who will actually believe that, hey, wow, we are going to be building a sky train in Ghana. Do you know the level of cluelessness you have to believe that? But it happens,
We've been at this democracy game for 30 years now, if you're talking about the Fourth Republic. What are your feelings about the way we are handling democracy in Ghana?
I think democracy, being a government of the people, by the people, for the people, is a great concept, But it is not what we are practicing now, It's more like you have to be financially, very, very financially secure, even to present yourself as a candidate on the political arena.
So money is talking.
Money talks, yeah. Money talks. And if you don't have money, then you're a joker.
You can't talk.
You can't talk. You see, so it's a matter of just accumulating big, big, big money and then go out there and talking and then hope that you have talked enough promises that somebody will vote for you, So the democracy now really in Ghana is more in the hands of, what do you call those people? I don't want to mention anything to get into trouble, but, foreign big business who want to come in will see you back door, and they are smart, They'll go and see the big man in the MPP back door and the big NDC man back door, that actually one of them can come. Let me stake my bets, you know. So that's how they dish the money to finance the political parties, you know. And you have to do that. And so we have ended up, our democracy has ended up being just an avenue for rich people to spread their cash. And hopefully, if you should come to power, they benefit. That's our democracy, unfortunately. Yeah.
Talking about cash, a lot of it was found in the former sanitation and water resources minister's home.
Yeah.
And social media went crazy.
Yeah.
She resigned, and as we speak, on the day of this recording, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has taken a keen interest into the money in the room. How do you feel about that news?
Number one, you know, I guess because I've never had $1 million before, I hope to one day.
That's 12 million CDs, you know?
That's a lot of money. You know, number one, I want to know how you store 1 million CDs in a room, which room, you know, and how big is the stash?
I did the calculations, you know. So if you have a $100 bill in bundles of hundreds, $100 bills will be one bundle. That's $10,000. Now 10,000 times 10 is 100,000. So times $110,000 bundles is $1 million.
Yeah, sitting in a room. I mean, it's so crazy, you know. And if, as the story was going, some house help saw it or had access to the place. I don't know whether she cleans the place and cleans the money as well to keep it neat, off dust.
Dust free.
Keep it dust free. I have no clue, you know, how she entered and discovered that stash and decided to help herself. To me, the whole thing is like a comedy, man. You know, it's like, you know, I asked her some, you know, I'm sorry, because maybe it's not my money. It's hard for me to think that anybody can come by that money and it's somewhere in a room where the house helps have access to, and we can go and then.
Did you hear the justifications?
No, I haven't heard. What's the justification?
Well, one of them, one chap said it could probably be some funeral donation because in the past year, the lady in question had lost 2 people close to her mother and her brother. And, you know, there was some company that had been involved in some contract worth over $40 million. So nothing could have prevented that company from taking $2 million out of that 40+ million contract as the Sawa funeral donation.
That's my reaction. And I guess there's more to come, you know.
Comedy is really serious business.
Oh,
right?
comedy is serious business. So do you see how comedic this thing is? And if I should get on the stage and I want to do this to get people to think about, do you see the angles I can come up with? You know, the whole thing is so comical.
We are rich in content in Ghana, right?
Rich people see me, KSM, when is your next show? Because there's so much content now, you know. And I say, I know, I'm watching, you know, because some of the things, they are so ridiculous. I don't even want to waste my little tired brain try to think about it in a way that will make sense to me, because it won't.
Close your eyes. Imagine that this was happening in the States. You lived in New York?
Yeah.
For a couple of years. What would be the reaction if you woke up in the morning, opened the New York Times, and you saw the story of a government official who had $1 million and some European currency in the room? What would be the reaction? What would be the consequences of an action?
You know, the FBI and the IRS, Internal Revenue, will be straight on the case immediately. You know, because it doesn't make sense that anybody had that kind of money in their house. I think the FBI will be very, very interested. So will the IRS also be, you know, then other agencies will be interested. This is very unusual. You know, why not in the bank, especially in the US? You know, in Ghana maybe I can understand why it's not in the bank.
Why is it not in the bank?
In Ghana it's understandable why it's not in the bank, because they are afraid that a haircut issue may touch the investment there. I don't know, but in the US I can't even see this happening, and it's like on the news that they discovered $1 million in the backyard of Governor so and so and so. I mean,
It won't even happen.
it won't even happen. It won't even happen, unless, of course, we're talking about maybe a mafia family. A mafia family that is into big money and big. Then I'll be surprised because the mafia they don't like electronic cash.
They want to touch, touch the bills.
They want to touch the
Benjamins.
The enjoyment is in the touch,
Because they want to get away from the banking system. So
yeah. Because in the bank in the US, when you put such thing there, you have to account for it. Where did it come from? So they have their own reasons why they don't go to the bank. We have our reasons why we don't go to the bank,
Growing up, was there a higher spirit of accountability? You just talked about accountability. I mean, you have to account for certain things. Or has Ghana always been like this, where people could just do what they want, really?
I think in the past, there probably was more accountability. I'm not very, very sure, because are you talking about the governments? And
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was such recklessness, but not to the level that we see now. But there were recklessness cases where you can think they were absolutely reckless, in some way, one way or the other. But it's not at the extent that we can see now. And thankfully, back in those days, we didn't have social media, So when you do it and you get away with it, Even when you don't get away with it, it's still with you and a few people who know. We didn't have social media. We didn't have TikTok talking about everything that you have done, and go to Facebook and go to Instagram, Twitter, where I used to live.
Yeah, domicile there. So different times.
Very, very different times.
Yes.
Very, very, very different times. All eyes are on you now, and you can't afford to not perform for the camera. Every time, just think, what if I was being filmed? Would I do this? You have to have that.
So that should be the default mode.
Oh yeah, it should be in default mode. Yeah, that there are cameras around, there are tape recordings around. Chances are somebody's looking at you and seeing you. Even if when they are not, and something happens, you'd be surprised how they will have their phones to record
Quickly.
That these days, that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
If there's somebody mugging you and trying to kill you, somebody will have to hide and shoot the whole thing so that they can trend.
And put it on their TikTok.
Yeah, put it on their TikTok.
And you are dying.
The police.
And you are dying. And somebody's filming.
Yeah, you're dying. They're filming it because it will trend. So it's a totally different world we live in now.
Talking of recordings, about a week or two back, the IGP was in the news.
Yeah.
Because it turned out that some people were discussing how to get him out of the system.
Yeah.
What did you make of that?
It was interesting. I don't know whether the whole thing was stage managed because there were people who were fearing or suspecting that he was going to be going out of the system. So they say, let's come up with a tape like this so that it will put the government in the place that they can't touch him. Because when they do, people say, that's the reason. We knew about it. We heard about it. And so that sort of saves him. So I don't know whether the whole thing was a gimmick or whether people actually wanted to take him out because, according to the story, he didn't help with the rigging process in Asimfosu. By-election, yeah. So that's what was going out there. I didn't know what to make of it, I didn't know what to make of it, except to think that there can be elements of truth in both sides, that he insisted that they wouldn't rig, or all the mechanisms that were put in place for rigging, he checked either that, or there are some people who are afraid that his time is almost up politically for him to be sacked. So let's do this, stage manage this thing to protect him,
How do you, it looks like we are now in a very much of an if-or kind of world where it's hard to verify information. How do you verify stuff to know that what I am sharing is real? Or it's not just somebody cooking something up for some agenda. It must be tough now.
Very, very tough. Very, very tough, Sometimes I see some of these things on YouTube or WhatsApp and everything, and I said, this is fake. You can just tell, you know. And sometimes you wonder, is this true or is this fake? This is the world now. We're living in a world of artificial intelligence.
And you tweeted something, that's your latest tweet right now, July 5. You said there's nothing artificial about artificial intelligence. It has life. What did you mean by that? ChatGPT and all those guys. What did you mean by artificial intelligence has life?
It does have life. What I meant was that it has come from human beings with brains to create that thing. And human beings with brains who have life and understanding of what life is. And they have come together to create something called artificial intelligence. You know what I'm saying? It's not artificial intelligence. You have created something that is almost imitating life in a way. So it was just to get people to understand that don't just think it's called artificial intelligence and it's nothing, you know, but there's something real about it.
Because human beings actually created it.
Yes, human beings have created it, and they keep updating it and they keep working on it, you know. So it's not something somebody has come up and they have left it. So, oh, I did this last year, I'm going. Or I did it 3 months ago, I'm going. No, they are actively, as we speak now, people are actively still working on so-called artificial intelligence to adjust where they need to adjust, to redefine where they need to redefine. So it's actively going on. That's why I said this thing is not artificial. Or there's life in there because constantly human beings are at it.
Evolving.
Yeah.
And as a creative person, do you have any concerns about artificial intelligence? I was following the screenwriters strike in Hollywood a couple of weeks back, and people are afraid that the studios are going to use AI to get a lot of the writers out of a job because ChatGPT can come up with a movie script for you.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about AI and content creators?
Yeah,
like you?
I'm concerned about it to the extent that it is diminishing creative thought, you know, that the energy that you need to put in to create content, you don't need that energy now, you know. The other question is that not how the world is supposed to be, that people work hard so that things become easier? You know, that's one of the logic, you know. But at the same time, is it becoming easier because you don't have to think anymore? Because that's where it's getting to the point where it's like you do not really have to apply your thinking. It's been done for you. Anything you are thinking of, you want to do, it's been done. Just tap into the thing, tap in well, and it will be at your doorstep.
Ask the right questions and then...
Ask the right questions. Ask the right questions, and it will give you the answer, you know. And that, of course, is deadening our brains. You don't have to think. And it's very, very dangerous when humanity gets to a place where they don't have to think. When you abdicate your power to think to a machine, to a robot, or to anything, you're done. They'll take over.
You think the machines can take over?
You know, they have artificial intelligence they have created now. You know, the writers were complaining.
Yes.
Not just the writers, the
people in the industry, right?
The people the people who do porn.
Okay, the adult film industry.
Yeah.
What were they complaining about?
Yeah. Well, they are complaining about now you don't have to go and buy the Playboys and you don't have to go and see this adult films and things. You can actually go and buy a toy that is a lady that fits the description of a lady that you want.
She's yours.
Yeah. She's yours.
She doesn't nag.
She doesn't nag. She just allow you to do the thing.
She's available all the time.
Anytime you want, you know. So they too are complaining that artificial intelligence is creeping into the porn
It's affecting their jobs.
Their jobs, you know. Soon all those ladies who stand out there, you know,
on the
by the street, easily going here. Young ladies who are all prostituting, you know. It will get to a time, hey, they all lose their jobs because
somebody has a doll at home.
Somebody has a doll at home. You know.
Talking about those girls on the streets.
Yeah.
And one, I had a chance to just do a little survey.
Yeah.
One evening when I was fixing my car at Bawaleshi. And as I passed by, I would count 1, 2. They thought I was crazy. 45. I got to 90.
You got 90.
90 young girls on the streets.
Wow.
What's going on there, man? Why do we have so many prostitutes?
Well, for them, it's a job, you know.
But they're coming out earlier now. They're coming out
earlier.
They're not saying
They've done their market research, and they realize that their customers, some are early birds, so they want to come out on time. You know, the early bird catches the worm. This one is the early bird catches the babe. So they know their customers. They've gone through their own KYC. So they know they have to come a little earlier, and they've adjusted
Mop
to
up.
it. Yeah, mop up. Yeah, you know, some to come late. They have shifts. You know, others will come for the later ones. You know, so but that's the world now, and now all of these are possibly going to be replaced by dolls who will do the same thing for you
without coming out.
What
What
you
a
have your
world.
thing in your closet at home.
Why
so
not?
you want to do it, you go and grab it and program it, whatever you do to it.
And then
it does whatever you want it to do, you know.
on the flip side,
Yeah.
I have friends who, anytime I talk about ChatGPT or AI, they say, "Hey, 666, this is devilish.
Yeah.
I don't want. This is the sign of the end times."
Yeah.
What do you say to people who think like that? They don't want anything to do with, because AI has some benefits. Gets things, repetitive tasks done quite quicker, and there are benefits to
But
it.
they are marvelous benefits.
Yeah. There are
You
people who are
can't-
spiritualizing it. So what do you say to them?
You can't underrate the power of AI and the positive things that it can do. You know, you can't underrate it. I saw the 666 thing even when we had remember those computers that had the backs were like 6 miles long.
Yes.
Those old types. That's when they started talking about, oh wow, look at this 666. You know. So as for the 666 and the end times, it's been associated with any progress that has come up. So AI is just a continuation, you know, of this whole thought that this is coming from the devil, and we have to be careful because these are end times, you know. That I don't know. I don't know what an end time is, you know.
Do you think time will end?
No. Time will not. When you say an end time, which means what?
The world is going to come to an end.
The whole world comes to an end.
Yes.
That I find it hard to believe. Through a natural disaster, or
God will just call time on the world.
God will say, "Pure."
Yeah.
Oh, Kafui, you're leading me to talk about my understanding of God, which is far from these end time things. You know, this is humanity, and this is what we are human beings are doing. Okay, and it's part of the progress of humanity that will get to areas that we do all these kinds of things. But I don't subscribe to the fact that when you see that kind of development, it's the devil.